Welcome back to BikeBeat. When you start to think more deeply about what Harley has done with the 2025 Fat Boy, you realize it isn't just a styling refresh or an engine bump. It represents Harley's attempt to keep one of its most iconic cruisers relevant in an era where riders expect more technology, more refinement, but still crave that unmistakable Harley personality. The challenge has always been balancing heritage with modernity, and in this model, Harley manages to strike that balance more effectively than in some past efforts. You can see it in small touches, like the new tank medallion, which pays homage to classic Harley iconography while still looking clean and contemporary. You see it in the integration of ride modes and traction control without turning the cockpit into something that feels like a sport tourer spaceship. Even the way the Grey Ghost Edition was conceived is an example of this balancing act. A nod to heritage with serialized production and vintage cues, but executed with cutting-edge PVD coating that reflects like liquid metal. Riders who throw a leg over the Fat Boy immediately feel its heft. At nearly 700 pounds, this is a motorcycle that makes its presence known before you've even fired it up. But once the Milwaukee-Eight 117 roars to life, much of that weight becomes a reassuring steadiness. The torque delivery is immediate, linear, and unmistakably Harley. In urban settings, the big rear tire can make tight maneuvers feel deliberate rather than fluid, but on the open road, the bike transforms. It hunkers down, the V-twin thumps with authority, and the sensation is one of effortless cruising. The seat, with its supportive profile, combined with the relatively low height, keeps most riders comfortable even after hours in the saddle. This is not the kind of motorcycle you buy to chase apexes, it's one you buy to own the highway. Another factor worth noting is the lighting system. Riders who are used to older Harley models will instantly recognize the leap in safety and visibility that comes from the all-LED setup. The headlamp throws a bright, consistent beam that makes night riding feel less uncertain, and the tail lights and signals are crisp and visible even in direct sunlight. Add to that the electronic rider aids, cornering ABS, drag torque slip control, traction control, and you get a motorcycle that still feels analog and raw in its sound and feel but is quietly supported by modern safety nets that can make a real difference in unexpected situations. Of course, exclusivity is another angle that Harley knows how to play, and the Grey Ghost model demonstrates this. With fewer than 2,000 units worldwide, it offers something not just to riders but also to collectors. There is a certain pride in knowing that the machine you're sitting on isn't one of tens of thousands, but part of a limited series that may very well become a sought-after classic decades down the line. That limited production, coupled with the reflection finish that shimmers like a mirror, gives the Fat Boy Grey Ghost a halo effect in the lineup. It's not just another cruiser, it's a rolling piece of art. The Fat Boy's sound is also something that cannot be overlooked. While emissions and noise restrictions have tamed many motorcycles over the years, Harley has managed to preserve much of the signature exhaust note. The 2-into-2 system rumbles at idle, barks when you roll on, and settles into a deep, resonant growl at cruising speeds. It's music to the ears of traditionalists, and for new riders it can be an initiation into what Harley culture has always been about, that visceral soundtrack that goes hand in hand with the open road. Long-term ownership of a Fat Boy will, of course, require a commitment. Tires are wide and not cheap to replace, and maintenance of a Milwaukee-Eight engine has its costs. But many Harley owners see this not as a drawback but as part of the relationship with their motorcycle. You invest in it, you take care of it, you personalize it with aftermarket parts and accessories. The Fat Boy, with its broad surfaces of chrome and bold silhouette, is one of the most customizable canvases Harley offers. From handlebars to exhausts to saddlebags and windshields, the aftermarket possibilities are vast. For many riders, half the joy is making it uniquely theirs. On the road, the Fat Boy commands respect from other motorists in a way that few bikes do. The combination of mass, design, and sound means people notice it. For some riders, that sense of presence is a key part of why they ride. It's not about disappearing into the traffic, it's about standing out. And in this respect, the Fat Boy delivers like almost nothing else on the market. The combination of visual impact and auditory signature makes it as much a lifestyle statement as it is a motorcycle. When thinking about alternatives, you might look at Indian's Chief Line or Triumph's Rocket 3. These bikes offer their own take on power cruisers, with Indian emphasizing American heritage and Triumph pushing raw horsepower. Yet the Harley Fat Boy sits in a unique sweet spot. It doesn't chase the biggest horsepower number or the lightest chassis. Instead, it leans into what it has always represented: unapologetic style, big torque, and a riding experience that feels larger than life. For many riders, that combination is irresistible. Riders also appreciate that the Fat Boy has grown more versatile than earlier versions. The ride modes make it adaptable to different conditions in a way that older Harleys simply weren't. You can set it to rain mode and get a softer throttle response with added traction support when the weather turns ugly, then flip it back into road or sport when the sky's clear. These subtle differences make the Fat Boy more than just a straight-line bruiser; they make it a cruiser you can live with in varying real-world conditions. It's also worth emphasizing how Harley has refined vibration management. The Milwaukee-Eight 117 is still very much a big V-twin. You feel the pulse at idle, you hear and sense the combustion in your bones. But once rolling, the balance is better controlled, the ride smoother, and long stretches less fatiguing. It allows riders to enjoy the character without being overwhelmed by harshness. This refinement makes the 2025 model appealing even to those who might have dismissed Harleys in the past as too rough or too old school. As for value, yes, $22,000 to $25,000 is not small money. You could buy a couple of mid-weight Japanese motorcycles for that price. But the Fat Boy is not really about dollars per horsepower. It's about the experience, the lifestyle, the pride of ownership. For many Harley riders, it's about walking into a garage, looking at the bike sitting there gleaming, and feeling something stir even before the engine turns over. That emotional connection is part of the value equation. And when you factor in the collectability of the Grey Ghost, the strong resale values of Harleys in general, and the massive dealer network, the price becomes easier to justify for those who crave what it offers. In the end, the 2025 Harley-Davidson Fat Boy is not just another motorcycle in the lineup. It's a symbol. A symbol of Harley's ability to evolve while still holding onto the DNA that makes the brand legendary. It is heavy, bold, loud, and unapologetic, yet smoother, safer, and more technologically capable than ever. It's for riders who want a motorcycle that makes a statement every time it rolls down the street, and for those who understand that riding is as much about presence and feeling as it is about numbers on a spec sheet. The Fat Boy continues to embody that ethos in 2025, reminding us that in a world of increasingly homogenized motorcycles, there's still room for a machine that carries itself like an icon.